Hi, this is Dave. In a recent video, I talked about creative projects and working on that first draft of a project can be messy, can get really messy. Hi, I'm Dave, and to be okay with that. It's a shift in the mindset away from thinking that everything's going to come out just right, and if it doesn't, to be stressed about that. But it's not going to come out just right all the time. A lot of times you're just stretching. You're trying something new, be it a story or a drawing, a painting, what have you, that a lot of times that first draft is going to be messy. Today, I'm going to talk about a similar thing in a mindset shift about uncertainty. As far as for me, it was a mindset shift because back a while ago, I used to think while I was writing fiction and drawing, I would hope for the days when I didn't feel uncertain, that, oh my gosh, at some point I'm going to be so skilled that I'll just be confident and things will fall into place. Well, that hasn't happened for me at least. I am more confident than I used to be years and years ago, but the uncertainty is still there. And I've learned along the way a different way, a lot of ways there, a different way of thinking about uncertainty, that it is a part of the creative process and it can be a beneficial part of the process. I'll take a step back with talking about two categories of people that I've heard about is attributed to writers, but you probably can say this about other artistic types too, that there are two types and they're planners and pantsers. Planners and pantsers. First, planners, they write an outline of a story, say short story, novel, and they want to map it out as far as here's what happens when. They already know how it's going to end. And then after that outline is done, they go in and fill in the blanks. They'll write scene by scene, chapter by chapter, fill in the details, but while knowing what's going to happen. Now, pantsers, on the other hand, they'll write by the seat of their pants. They may have a general idea, say a starting scene of something happens, mysteriously happens on the beach. There's a shipwreck or somebody floats to shore. Who knows? I don't know. Throwing something out there. Wait, what? What is? And they have that start scene or say a character, and they'll start writing, and they will see what happens from there. Seat of their pants, and that has a lot of uncertainty with it. And that's how I am. My first drafts, I certainly am a pantser. I'll write a short story or working, say, on a novel. I've only written one of those, written a couple of novellas, but still, I had an idea and not everything was fleshed out. So I started writing and things unfolded from there. Now, to help with kind of wrap your mind around this, I've got a couple quotes. The first is by Donald Barthelme. He was a writer, primarily short stories. He wrote a handful of novels, and in his works, it was quite experimental, and it's really neat to read his short stories. He also wrote an essay called Not Knowing, and he talked about the benefits of that kind of, he didn't call it pantser, but that kind of approach where you set up a scene, a situation of some characters, and you keep going. You don't know what happens next, so you discover it along the way. And I've got a quote from that. Not knowing is crucial to art, is what permits art to be made. Without the scanning process engendered by not knowing, I'll admit I didn't know what engendered mean, or if I'm even saying that correctly. On engendered. I had to look it up, and it means cause or give rise to. Let me start over. Without the scanning process engendered by not knowing, without the possibility of having the mind move in unanticipated directions, there would be no invention. And going to another quote, this is from book Art and Fear by David Bales and Ted Orland. This is a wonderfully insightful book, a lot of wisdom in here, and I'll probably include this book in future videos. There's so much packed in here. The subtitle says it really well: Observations on the Perils and Rewards of Art Making. So it's back and forth. It's not just art and fear, but there's also rewards too. And so it's got a lot of great things to say, including art is like beginning a sentence before you know it's ending. I think they put it so well that way, where yeah, you do have that kind of itch of an idea, and it's exciting. You're eager to try it out, but you don't know everything about it. You don't know how that sentence is going to end. You may not even know the middle, and that's exciting. It brings anxiety, certainly does for me. Uncertainty, certainly. Their other quote is, "What's really needed is nothing more than a broad sense of what you are looking for, some strategy for how to find it, and an overriding willingness to embrace mistakes and surprises along the way." Those mistakes, you're going to have those stumbles. Not everything is going to work out. Messes, mistakes, uncertainty, part of the game. Think about it this way, that when you're reading a book or watching a movie, a TV show, and yeah, you're in the flow of the action, but you don't know exactly what's going to happen. There may be some foreshadowing now and then, so you have a guess as to what's going to happen. But it's nice to be surprised too, of hey, the character did something that I didn't expect. And when you're writing a book or story, poem, making a drawing, that can also happen too. That instead of being a spectator and watching things unfold, well, maybe you kind of, in a way, are a spectator, that the story, the painting, the image kind of, in a way, is taken over, of in the process of being created. Maybe it's creating itself. Maybe you're kind of a spectator, even though your fingers on the keyboards, yes, physically you're typing out that story, but the story is unfolding before you. And so you kind of are creating it in that you're typing the words, but it's kind of neat to think about what if it is also being created itself too, of it has this flow that yes, it'll stumble, it'll fall sometimes, and you have to pick it up and let's get back on the path, or show me where you want to go. And surprises can happen, and then that's amazing to have that, to experience that. And yeah, it comes alongside all that other anxiety causing stuff of messiness and mistakes and failures, but they're also those huge benefits of, you think back and after you finish the story, it's like that happened, and it happened at the fingertips. So it's really cool when it does happen, those lovely moments. So that's it for this video about uncertainty. I hope that helps you as you think about the creative process and trying to be kinder to yourself as you go about it. And it's okay to make a mistake, make a mess, be uncertain during it, but don't let that stop you. Hopefully, get out there and create something. When I create stuff, I feel better afterwards, most of the time. Sometimes I'm frustrated, but I wish you well with your creativity, and take care.